Hello, my name is Jeffrey, and I want to talk about adoption. Not necessarily organizational change management, but I think that's very important. Let's talk about that initially and then go deeper. The reason OCM is important is because we need buy in, we need adoption from everybody involved. And one thing I have learned is every leader says, yes, OCM is important. But when it comes to funding and budgets, they're like, I just don't know if I can use that money in that way. Very important. But let's talk adoption. Specifically, how do we get our users, how do I get our employees to adopt to our new initiatives, our new technology? That is a conversation I have many times with leaders, and I wanted to give you my perspective. It's different than most, so let's talk about that. So, the first thing I would do is identify each type of audience. Sometimes we call those personas. And we want to understand what is it that drives them? What are their barriers to supporting what we're doing? What is it that would enable them to support easily? So let's first identify each type of audience. And when we identify those types of audience, we're not getting down to each person, but just groups of people. And I think back to something Andrew Brandt, who was the former general manager of the Green Bay Packers, once said there are three types of people in these type of change initiatives. The ones that will adopt easily, they're all for you, raw, raw, raw. And then there's the second, I just don't know, I need to understand more. And then there will always be that third category who are, no matter what you want to do, they're staunchly against. I actually have one of those kinds of people as in my family. And so I'm painfully aware of this. And so if you think about those three groups, Brandt says most people, they try to get the ones, that third group. Let's convince them and everything's smooth. And that's not the case. You want to convince that those people that are on the fence, you want to convince them to support you. Because once you have these two groups supporting you, the ones that are against you, it all plays out. They either have to support or get out of the way. But I would not spend, and Brandt advises the same, resources, time trying to convince people that may never be convinced that this is what they need to do. So we've identified these personas. The second thing we need to do is have a clear message about what we want to tell each one of them. We want a clear message about why it's important for them to adopt, how they can adopt, how they can support your initiative. Basically, with them, what's in it for me? And so, the last thing I want to encourage you is to utilize storytelling. One of the things I try to do in these videos, in the podcast, in whatever medium I'm in, to use storytelling. Because if we can help people see how they fit into the story, then they adopt more easily. So utilize storytelling, have a clear message for each group, help them understand your mission, what you're trying to accomplish, how you're trying to accomplish, and how they will be better off in the end. And I hope that this is valuable to you and that you will support what we're doing. Subscribe, help us promote it. Thank you for your time. And I hope that you have an awesome, awesome rest of your day. Bye.